All right, guys, let's have a more in-depth look at the DXY. This is on a monthly, so each candle is 1 month. You guessed it. Going back to good old 2008. Look at the levels we're at. 88 kind of holding as resistance, roughly right in there. We came back down years later, 10 years later to be exact. 10 years later, we came back and held that as support. Bounced back up, and the pandemic, we had, the fake out rally, and now we've been going down since. And we haven't really double tested this level yet. So maybe we don't. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We got to see it play by ear. But that would make sense to me if at least we come back and test right in here. We haven't really held it as support or tested it at all. On the monthly chart, I mean, like I said, like I always say, like trend lines are subjective, right? You can technically draw this all the way up to this wick, whatever. Most touch points is strongest. If we go look at it on the weekly, we can get a little bit better of a opinion or an option. Let's see, this is like the best case scenario for it. We can draw it right, through these candles, and you can kind of see maybe this isn't the best news. Look at this as we're breaking through it. Now, in order to break a trend, we'd have to have this candle close and next week to close above it as well. You'd have to have 2 weekly candles close above this to really confirm it. Otherwise, you can have one up and then next week we can have a big red come down. That would be fine with me. But there's not a whole lot of strength going on with the dollar. It's more like people are hearing what they want to hear and don't want to admit to themselves all the chaos that's actually happening with all the money printing and whatever. It's going to come crashing down at some point. This is all my opinion, but the DXY has been on a downtrend for the past 40 years. I don't anticipate that to reverse before at least testing these lower levels. Maybe ever. Maybe the DXY just downtrends forever until the US dollar gets replaced by a digital currency. That would be okay too. If we go down to the daily, we can yet again refit this trend line. Maybe like that. Got to zoom in a little bit more. Get up in here. So now we got this trend line. And yet again, we're still breaking through this. But this day isn't closed yet. We still have 5 hours. Maybe this ends up being a wick. We come back down. Or yet again, if we close here, we just got to watch tomorrow. If we start closing candles above this trend line, then we can start zooming out to our 3-day, weekly, monthly, and start looking at the bigger picture. But so far, maybe just hopefully a fake out rally. We don't want to see this continue like and reverse trend back up again, right? That would really hurt crypto for the short term. Now, another kind of I want to say negative would be maybe we've already broken this downtrend, right? You can refit this on the daily chart or the weekly chart, and these are just wicks on top of that. And maybe the breakout was in March, and that was our sign. And now we're actually kind of holding that as support, something like that. And now we're moving back up. So there's a lot of different things we could look at. If we go back to the weekly, you can see what I'm seeing a little bit easier with the candle thing here. So like that would be like kind of a best case rough trend line, right at the top, the peak of this candle. You can move this up and down a little bit, but all kind of relative. That would be kind of best case scenario. Look at that. So kind of right through the top of this candle, the top of this candle, coming down. We hit it as resistance, then came back and started closing above it, come back down again, and now we're holding as support. This would be a case against crypto. If the DXY is starting to gain strength here, we could be in for some at least short term. And when I say short term, I'm talking about maybe several months of maybe fake out, something like this. We don't want to see, multiple green candles like this. This would be bad. Now, make no mistake, this is not a joke. This is the biggest single day pump in quite some time. Back in September of 2020 was our last really big one. Before that, we had some back in here. So the DXY could present some issues if we don't turn around here soon. So I'll leave you with that. This is going back again to 2008, these levels. I would think at some point we have to retest this for another double bottom, although you can even play again with more trend lines, zoom out, and I mean you could loosely fit a trend line towards the bottom of this and just pretend like you're making something like this, right? And you're already making low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. This didn't quite come back down to it, even though this is not really a great trend line, right? This is not, you could even like kind of just put like the averages right through it, and you can see we're just macro trending up since 2008. But overall, we zoom out on the monthlies, just easiest to see. Clear the drawings out and look at just since the 80s, that good old 1985 macro downtrend. High, lower high, lower high, lower high. If we come back up again, now this is big picture. I'm talking like maybe 2022, 2023, maybe we make another high and we top out, as long as we don't do this, and yeah, which I don't think we do. I think we continue this downtrend, and this is what will be the catalyst for crypto to really kick off our next leg up in crypto. If we come back down here and lose these levels and fall down to this area of support in the mid to low 80s, this would likely be maybe towards next year we come back down and continue this trend with the DXY falling like that, breaking this local low, getting back to the low 80s. That would likely send crypto flying higher, and that would be likely when we see Bitcoin and all of crypto soaring 5-10x these current prices. So I'll leave you with that final thought, and I'll see you right back here on the next video.